G'day everyone. So today I'm going to start blowing in all the corners and all the hard to get places with the 2-pack black. I've already gone ahead and popped the end of the cap on this one, so it's mixed now, the two parts, the hardener and the paint. So I'm going to get to work. First run right there. G'day YouTube, Turbo Tristan here. Today is painting day. Yesterday I blew in all of the corners, edges, around the door frames, around the boot, all the hard to get places. It came out really good. I had a bit of paint left over, so I started on the rear quarter there and it came out awesome. There were a couple of small runs which I'm going to sand out very gently. I've had a go at one. It worked really well just with some 2000. You can't even tell that there was a run mark there, so things are going very well. I wanted to give a shout out to Complete Auto Paints in Springvale. I've been calling them Springvale Auto Paints, but it's actually Complete Auto Paints in Springvale. The guys down there have been helping me out with some advice and just, you know, making sure I've got the right stuff to do the job. This is a fun project after all. I could have spent thousands of dollars and got the car painted professionally, but it was only $1,000 car, so why would I do that? I've just gotten though the game changer. So now we can spray like a pro with a handle. So that's a game changer. I'm excited to give that a go. All of what you'll see in a moment was done just with the finger. So we'll see how this goes. I've got a little bit of prep to do and a bit of cleanup to do before I actually get painting. But I'll just walk you around and show you what we've done so far. So just along the back of the car, the boot, all the edges on the bumper bar, this rear quarter, which came out excellent. Around the edges of the roof, so I'm going to start there and paint from the top down. I've done all around the guards, around the door handles. I've done this guard, there was a run just here. I've already smoothed that out, so when I clean up before I start painting, I'll get to that one. There was a blob that happened just here. I don't know if you can see that reflecting where one of the cans spat out a blob. That was my fault. I didn't clear the nozzle before I started spraying again. That was just using a bit of extra paint yesterday that I had. I've done sort of 1.5 coats of the bumper, so I'm going to hit that as well. I've given a very light coat on this guard. It's by far from finished, but I decided I'll put the mirrors back on so that I can paint them without, you know, risking them falling off or falling over. This is that door that I was worried about. It's come out all right. You can see the repair on it, but at this point in time, I'm not really worried. I just want to get the thing done. It is only a cheap car after all, but that's the only downside so far. There's a couple of very small runs just here. 1, 2, which I'll get to today and clean that off, and then I'll start painting. So overall it's all dusty today, but when I clean it down it looks amazing. So really happy with that finish, and once I get the whole car painted and sand it all back and polish it, fingers crossed, it should look like I bought one. Okay guys, so I've just finished painting and you can hear in the background, oh he's just stopped now, but my neighbour started mowing the lawn, so thanks for ruining my brand new paint job, mate, but we'll see how it turns out. It looks a little dull in the background now. That's because little bits of overspray and things from where I'd gone over other panels. Hopefully once I wet sand that all down, it should bring up a really nice shine. As you can see, I've got paint all over my fingers. I ended up scrapping the spray nozzle. I just wasn't comfortable with that, so I went back to the old finger. Nice and black. I've got some black stuff on my face where I was sucking in air from wearing the mask, so the things you learn, but I'm nervous. It's a bit dull in some spots. Yesterday I took some photos straight off the gun, or straight off the can, and it looked awesome. I sent them to a couple of my mates and they were like, oh, that looks hectic, you know, the top spray shops are gonna want you to work for them and things like that, but really there was more runs in it than Eastern Creek, so hopefully it works out well. You can see by the front bar, I'm very proud of that. So I'm very proud of the front bar. That looks awesome. Nice and wet and glossy. No orange peel. It looks awesome. This is the door that I was really worried about. You can see some tiny ripples, but that's just going to look like a 20-year-old car. Once it's all buffed and polished, it won't really look like there's full of bog or anything, so well, that's what I'm hoping. The roof was hard to do because it was up so high and I was having to lean over. Even though I'm 6'3", it was still difficult to reach over the roof, so hopefully the wet sanding will do all the work there. You can see by these mirrors, they just look unreal. So once that dries and hardens, it's going to look beautiful. Boot lid, you can see just there. I could not see that when I was sanding. I couldn't feel it when I was sanding. I reckon I've dropped something on there in between sanding it and priming it and painting it, so that's unfortunate, but you get that on the big jobs. The rear bar came out awesome. I'm glad I used that factory bar. And this panel here was my most proudest moment, but it looks a little dull now because there's bits of overspray on it. I've sort of touched it a little bit, but there's the other doors down there. So fingers crossed, we'll let that harden overnight. We'll see how we go, and then I can start putting it together on the weekend / sanding it down. So we'll see. We'll see. I want to maybe wait a little while until it's all back together and all perfect, and then do like a reveal, but we'll see how we go. I've still got to get it registered. I spoke to a guy today about all the things that it needs, so I'm confident that should pass. But yeah, I did it. I sprayed a car with a rattle can and it came out pretty awesome considering. So yeah, I'm proud of myself. So hopefully that inspires some other people to give it a crack and probably do a much better job than I did, but the proof is in the pudding. We'll see how it turns out once I do all the sanding and polishing and cutting them. Who knows, I might even hit it with some clear in all the high traffic areas. So we'll see how it turns out, but time will tell. I'm pretty chuffed with myself, I gotta say. But yeah, thanks guys.